What is muddy flood? After heavy thunderstorms or after prolonged rainfall, roads, fields, and houses are inundated with mud and water. This can lead to an enormous financial and psychological impact for residents. Not all residents are also insured against water damage. Agricultural soils are subject to soil erosion from runoff water, resulting in soil quality loss. Soil erosion is one of the most important soil degradation processes in addition to soil compaction, soil sealing, loss of organic matter and landslide. A muddy flood is produced by an accumulation of runoff over agricultural land. Sediments are picked up by the runoff and carried as suspended matter or bed load. Muddy floods are typically a hill slope process, and should not be confused with mud flows produced by mass movements. Muddy runoff is generated on agricultural land when the soil surface is exposed or sparsely covered by vegetation. So the soil surface contains a low infiltration capacity of water. Large quantities of runoff usually generated by heavy rainfall is needed to start such a flood. The agricultural land is hilly, so the mud water flows down. Most muddy floods occur in May and June. The explanation is that in the summer period May-September there are many convective activities, such as thunderstorms, which cause heavy showers. In April and early May, the fields are sown with summer crops such as potato, corn, sugar beets, but the crop plants are still small in May and June. As a result, the soil cover is low. This ensures high rain erosivity, and this leads to muddy flood. Muddy floods have been observed in the European Loess Belt, include Normandy and Picardy, France, central Belgium and southern Limburg, the Netherlands. Muddy floods have also been observed in United Kingdom, Slovakia, and Poland. Different causes of muddy flood. The change in land use. The crops do not cover the soil sufficiently. There is little crop rotation. This means that the same crops are always planted on the fields. The scale of agriculture is being expanded and intensified. The agricultural plots are getting bigger, so that the water can run off unimpeded and increase in strength. The soil quality has decreased. The soils lose their stable structure. This is due to changes in soil life and soil pH and a decrease in the organic matter content as a result of a decreasing use of farmyard manure and more slurry, changed crop rotations with fewer grains and more maize. The soil is also worked more intensively. There is soil compaction by heavy agricultural machines such as tractors. Investing in spatial policy is insufficient. Homes are built in places where muddy floods often occur. Climate change is leading to a higher frequency of heavy showers, resulting in a higher risk of erosion. As already mentioned, soil erosion causes the muddy flood. Soil erosion is a process in which particles are loosened and displaced from the soil by water, wind, soil cultivation, and the harvesting of crops such as maize, potatoes and sugar beets. Soil erosion poses a threat to soil quality and certainly has an important impact on people and the environment, because some of the loosened soil particles end up in buildings, streets, and waterways. Soil erosion, which is caused by water, occurs when the action of the rain and runoff water is greater than the resistance of the soil. The various factors of the environment certainly have an influence on this erosion. Soil erosion is determined by precipitation erosivity, heavy rainfall causes more erosion, and by the properties of the soil and the physical characteristics of the landscape, such as the slope and the length. Tillage and soil cover also influence soil erosion. Two important factors of rain erosivity factor are the precipitation amount, mm, and the precipitation intensity, mm/min. They provide the ability to loosen and transport the particles from the soil. Circa 70% of the annual precipitation erosivity occurs in the summer crop period, April to September. Various factors such as texture, organic matter content and moisture content play an important role in soil erosion susceptibility. The most sensitive soil to erosion is that with a loam or sandy loam texture. If the soil structure is good, the soils will be less susceptible to erosion, so that the rainwater can infiltrate more quickly. The soils are also retained better and rinse less. It also makes the soil particles more difficult to loosen and transport. The topography has a major influence on soil erosion. If this area increases, more water will be collected. This increases the risk of erosion. The steeper the slope, the more soil loss will occur. The crops protect the soil against the incoming raindrops and runoff rainwater. Their roots and the supply of organic material ensure an increased resistance of the soil. The degree of coverage plays an important role. Coverage refers to the extent to which the soil is covered by the crops. The degree of cover determines the erosion sensitivity of the crops. So the lower the coverage, the greater the risk of soil erosion. The most efficient for erosion control is pasture, as it contains permanent and complete cover. The crops on the arable land are not permanent and the size varies over the growing season. At the start of the growing season, the crops are still small, which is an ideal moment for soil erosion. Erosion control factor is also important. This concerns erosion control measures such as strip construction and dams. It ensures the reduction of the muddy flood. Solutions against muddy flood are erosion control measures. Grass buffer strips must slow down the runoff water, so that the entrained sediment is deposited in the strip. The water can partly infiltrate. The rooting of this grass strip also ensures a better soil structure. The chance of soil erosion has been reduced. A grass buffer strip is constructed perpendicular or oblique to the direction of the runoff water, to slow down the water and allow the sediment to settle. Grassed waterways serve to delay runoff water, which concentrates naturally, and to protect the soil locally against erosion. A grassed waterway is constructed in the direction of the runoff water to guide the water in a controlled manner, to slow it down and to allow the sediment to settle. Protection and recovery of embankments. An embankment is a landscape element that causes an abrupt difference in level in the landscape. This is characterized by a short, steep slope and it reduces erosion on the plots. But the steep edge of the embankment is extra vulnerable to erosion. The embankments must be protected and repaired by sowing grasses and plants on the steep edge. The embankments must be well maintained to avoid erosion. Hedges are linear plantings that are kept in shape by regular pruning. Wood edge is an overgrown strip of trees and shrubs. Its maintenance consists of periodic felling of the trees and shrubs. Hedges and wood edges slow down the runoff water with sediment, so that the sediment can settle. Dams from plant materials ensure that sediments are collected after the runoff water is slowed down. These dams consist of vegetable materials that are permeable to water, such as willow twigs, straw bales, shredded wood, and coconut bales. The held water slowly seeps through the dam and continues to flow at a lower flow rate, reducing the risk of soil erosion. Earth dams ensure that runoff water and sediment is temporarily collected in a buffer zone or erosion pool, where the sediment can settle and the water is drained off slowly. This reduces soil erosion downstream of the dam. Buildings and roads are protected from muddy flood. Retention basin. Runoff water and sediment are temporarily collected in an excavated basin. In this basin, the water stands still, so that the sediments can settle and the water is drained off slowly. Check dams. Runoff water and sediment are temporarily collected in a check dam and then slowly transported to a watercourse or sewerage system. Hopefully you have learned something from the muddy flood.